Bishop Royster side. I don't know. How was that one? This is the Power Hour, again brought to you by Power Interfaith. But the thoughts are independent of the organization. They just pay for the shout out. But the opinions are the opinions of the hosts. And today you're going to get an earful of them. I'm telling you, got a lot to talk about on this day. But before we do all of that, if you are listening on Facebook, do us a big favor, do us a solid, and send that feed out to your friends, your family, your loved ones. Hit the share button. If you are watching by way of YouTube live, do the same. Take it and copy the link, send it to Twitter, send it to YouTube, send it to whoever you want to send it to. But be sure to send it out to other folk. We'd appreciate that. This morning, coming to you live from my virtual studio. Hope you appreciate this background. But though Bishop Royster is not with me, I have not been left alone. And I know the biblical folk are out there like, yeah, of course you're never alone. You all sing that song all the time. No, never alone. But no, not just that. I'm not alone because, first of all, the station wouldn't let me be here by myself. Are they crazy? That would be a fiasco. Could you see me without somebody there without their hand on the mute button? I would love that opportunity. But no, they're not going to give me that kind of leeway. They love me, but not that much. So making sure that I stay in my lane on today is none other than the queen herself, Kawesa. What's up, Kawesa?
Good morning. How are you?
Wow, you sound like it's Friday, but it's Monday. You're so chipper.
Faking it till I make it.
You go, oh, there you go. For you, it's just a mood, but for some people, it's a financial philosophy. Fake it till I make it.
I try my best to live by that motto at times when I'm feeling a little. But yeah, no, I'm here. I'm wearing yellow today again, and I know it's not super sunny outside, but you know, I'm trying to have this yellow like leach into my cheery disposition. So that's what that's what I'm trying to do.
I like it. I like it a lot. And wow. So Kawesa, how was the weather? How was the drive? Let me channel my inner bishop this morning. How was it getting here?
Not too bad. Not too much traffic this morning, which was good. The weather, meh. It's muggy and it's warm. I guess because of all the rain that we had, but I don't really feel that the weather is super pleasant. But I guess it's, since it's not raining, I'll take it. But yeah, it's not my favorite weather. But the traffic wasn't bad at all this morning.
Well, I mean, it shouldn't be, right? I mean, but I'm with you. You always say that you're trying to figure out this these traffic patterns, and I'm like you, man. It's like when it's 2 p.m. and it should be like nobody out, everybody is out.
Everyone.
When it's like 8 in the morning and everybody should be out, nobody's out. I literally have given up.
Yeah.
I've just given up.
Same. That's pretty much where I'm at too. I'm just like, well, I just expect there to be traffic, and then when there's not traffic, I'm pleasantly surprised.
Yeah, when it's not traffic, just know we did that for you. That's me and Bishop. We did that.
Appreciate that.
That's right. We'll do that for anybody that we care about. So if you're out on Facebook Live, Robert, Deborah, Ed, I see Beatrice B. Bernita is also in the house. Kenesha, Bishop Peggy, Franny. See, we'll do that for you too. Hit the share button, folks. And listen, on YouTube as well. What's up, Nikki O'Tim? Yeah, they said no. Nikki O'Tim said no. Rev Tyler, you can't stay home alone. That's exactly right. You all know me better than that. What's up, Catfish Hillbilly? And these YouTube names are awesome. I got to change mine. It's like so blah. Jean is in the house as well. Thank you all. And so we've got a very interesting day for you. We're going to talk about the local news and the national news as well. Obviously, as you know, COVID numbers are still rising. And some surprising new critics are starting to weigh in. Yeah, Republican governors are tired of like carrying Trump's water. They're finally just like they've had enough. They've had enough. But before I lay that out for you, let me just tell you this week. So tomorrow on the show, we're going to have Dr. Aubrey Hendricks, who has written a new critical piece on white evangelicals, how he says they are destroying the country. Wow. Very provocative. Princeton trained PhD, former seminary president, outspoken critic. He was actually, I think, Cornell West's first PhD student to go through and become hooded. So Dr. Aubrey Hendricks is no slouch. He's going to be on tomorrow. He's no joke. Wednesday, we're going to keep that train a-rolling as well. Kuwaisa, did you hear the news about Clark Atlanta University, my alma mater?
I didn't. I did not.
This is what happened at CAU. This is how we roll, Hampton Pirate. You Hampton Pirate. At CAU, they just waived all the student debt for students for your 2020 and 2021 debt is gone.
Oh, that's beautiful.
I want to know, where was that love between 1987 and 1991? Because I was sitting in like a line with students who are crying on both sides of me, and I'm trying to keep my stuff together. Like, you know, back in the day, folks, at Clark and other HBCUs, they had a room that you had to go to during registration if you didn't have your money right. So like every semester I was in that room, because every semester I was just trying to make it through, man. Thank God for my mom who helped me make it. But, you know, you get up, you finally get to the table, you sit there, you try to whisper, yeah, see, what happened was, speak up, I can't hear you. Yeah, see, our house had a fire on my way here from Oakland, which actually happened. Yeah, well, you got to balance. You can't get in until you clear your balance. That's 87 to 91 Clark. But 2021 Clark is, we are wiping balances. I've got to believe some of that is because they received some of that money from the late Mrs. Jeff Bezos while he's out joyriding in spaceships to outer space. His ex, Mackenzie, was dropping billions on black colleges. Clark was one of the schools that received some of that money. And in an incredible gesture, they have wiped debt clean. Bernita said, oh, Bernita, her niece's alma mater as well. And so, yeah, so it's all clean. So guess who we're going to have on the show Wednesday? The president of Clark Atlanta University, Dr. George French. He's also a good alpha man. So have to have him on to talk about that good news story, because a lot of smaller HBCUs like Clark is, they're not in the position to do that on a regular basis. So Clark is like, you know, it's not right there financially with a Spelman, a Morehouse, a Hampton, a Howard. It's like that next level. And so something that I'm sure administrators have always wanted to do, and now it's done. Thanks to Jeff Bezos. I'm sure he woke up this morning and spitting coffee out. What? Could have used that money to go to outer space, paying off student debt. Blah, humbug. Yeah, Mackenzie Scott is no joke. So we're going to talk to him on Wednesday, holding out some hope for someone who's going to come in and weigh in on the political news on Thursday. So I'll kind of put a question mark on that one. The ask is out. Then on Friday, we'll talk to Katia Woods, our resident expert in all things entertainment, especially with Black folk, and kind of find out from her, especially like, you know, as people are like moving around and getting back out again, you know, like what's up with the movies? What are people in her industry saying? I mean, in concerts and, you know, Broadway and all of these different kind of things that are happening. Or what are folk doing? What are folk to make of it? But we always enjoy talking to Katia. And also she can tell you about films and things that you want to see. That's Feel Good Friday. But today we'll talk to Stephen Freed on the other side of the first break. He is an author who has written extensively on the life of one of the signers of the Declaration of Independence, Benjamin Rush, who was somewhat controversial during the yellow fever epidemic, almost got Richard Allen killed because he thought that black folk were immune to yellow fever, which they were not. But one of the things he deeply regretted for the rest of his life. But he has written a new article, and you know we had to have him on to talk. It's called The Founders' Plague, talking about the founders of the United States. The Founders' Plague and Ours, Race, Partisanship, and Fake News at the Dawn of the Republic. He draws comparisons between what's going on now with mask mandates and the like, you know, vaccine news, fake news, won't call the name of certain channels, hint, hint. It's kind of like a small animal that you don't want running around your front yard or around a hen house. Take of that what you will. But yeah, he's going to be on and talk about the comparison between then and now. And believe me, there's a lot to say about those two subjects. So looking forward to the interview in a few moments. But while we're there, why don't we just start there? So in Mississippi, was it Mississippi or Alabama? I don't know. I mean, it's kind of hard to tell the two apart these days. But I want to say it was Mississippi, but probably Alabama. One of the governors there has just basically, this is a Republican governor, and she said over the weekend, all right, I'm going to call it like I see it. I'm going to call a spade, that these rising numbers of COVID cases that are now overwhelming her state's ability to respond. Was it Governor Ivey? Can you take a look for me, Kwesa? I think it was Governor Ivey in Alabama. But she said that, look, folks, the problem, it's you unvaccinated people. She said it's not the vaccinated. It's you unvaccinated people. She said this is not a Democratic conspiracy. This is not Dr. Fauci. This is not Hillary and Bill Clinton. For some reason, they can't get over that. But no, this is the fact that you all refuse to get the vaccine and you're killing your neighbors. You're killing each other. Wow. You've got Republican governors now. Yeah, Alabama governor. Thank you. I mean, this is so we're in a new place here, right? I mean, an absolutely new place. And the fact that now Republican governors, see, it's one thing for a Republican Congress member or a Republican senator or a state legislator to get on the floor and pound their fist and wave their finger and talk about just, you know, this is nothing but Fauci. He's a fascist. He wants you to put a mask on. Next thing you know, he's going to try to tell you what to do with your body. You know, kind of like what the same people do for abortion. But I digress. Because it's easy for them to do that, right? But when you get down to it, a governor has a different responsibility. A governor is not a lawmaker in that sense. A governor actually has to manage things. And a governor doesn't have the luxury of, you know, I don't know, just being stupid. And she's like, yeah, I would like to have seen Donald Trump be president. I'm not really down with Joe Biden. I'm a Republican, but damn, y'all are killing each other. Stop it. And if you don't want the vaccine, I get that, but put on a mask. You can't do both. It's just like, I mean, they hauled a woman off the airplane over the weekend, off of a flight, because she didn't want to wear a mask. Okay, fine. You don't want to wear a mask on a flight. It's uncomfortable. I have done it. You're right. It's terrible. But it's you don't have to fly. You can drive. You could take some other mode of transportation. There's no constitutional right that says you get to fly. I mean, you can't open the side door. You have to put your seatbelt on at certain points. You have to put your tray table up. You know, there are a lot of things they tell you to do on an airplane. And in this case, they now tell you to put a mask. But this woman who doesn't want to wear a mask, okay, fine, don't wear a mask. But what does she do? She screams for 10 minutes as they're trying to detain her. So you possibly are spewing out COVID-19 on other people because, again, you don't want to wear masks. I mean, folks, grow up, okay? Saw somebody post something I thought was just incredible this weekend. They said a lot of these same people are the ones who are saying, I'll take a bullet for my country. I say, good, then take a shot for your neighbor. Or, I mean, don't even go that far. Just put a mask on for your neighbor. If you're willing to take a bullet, then take a mask. We got to take a break at 6:21. When we come back, we'll bring on the air, again, Dr. Stephen Freed to talk about this very same thing, but the 1791 yellow fever version of it. Fascinating piece that he has written called The Founder's Plague and Ours, Race, Partisanship, and Fake News at the Dawn of the Republic. Hit the share button. We'll be right back.
The Broad Street line.
Norristown High Speed line.
I ride the bus.
I ride the trolley.
Ursula Linea Azul.
Take all of them.
All of them. All of them. Into, out of, and all around the city.
SEPTA is the hometown way to go.
Plan your trip at iseptaphilly.com.
If you or a loved one is searching for a home care agency that provides care both needed and deserved, call My Independence at Home at 215-921-2277. Featured in Oprah Magazine, My Independence at Home is committed to quality, compassionate home care for the elderly and adults with both physical and intellectual developmental disabilities. Call 215-921-2277 today for a free in-home consultation or visit us on the web at myia.org.
The hottest place to hang out this summer is the Dell Music Center. The lineup is lit. Thursday, August 5th, Tank, SWV, and Drew Hill. Then on August 12th, Gregory Porter, Stokely, and Leela James. Then on Thursday, August 19th, Fresh Off versus the Isley Brothers. Performing all their greatest hits with Kelly Price and Carol Riddick. Get your tickets at the Dell box office and Ticketmaster.com. This is going to be an incredible season with Tank, SWV, Drew Hill, Gregory Porter, Stokely, Leela James, Carol Riddick, Kelly Price, and the Isley Brothers. For more information, log on to theDellMusicCenter.com.
Now, a traffic update on WURD Radio.
Pretty quiet start here in Philadelphia so far this morning. Southbound 95 looking good as you make your way down to Center City. Northbound in pretty good shape as well. Vine Expressway through Center City. That is running with no problems. Schuylkill Expressway east and westbound. No major issues there as of yet. Same thing on the PA Turnpike and the Blue Route 476, 42, 55, 295. Trouble-free so far in South Jersey. For more traffic information, log on to SIGAlert.com. Jim Bachman with your Philadelphia area traffic.
Now, a WURD weather update. Here's NBC 10 First Alert meteorologist Bill Henley.
Mostly cloudy, warm, and muggy this morning, turning partly sunny this afternoon, and it will be a hot day, high of 92, with a chance of an isolated shower or thunderstorm. Mostly sunny skies for Tuesday and a touch hotter, a high at 94 degrees. Then the humidity ramps up on Wednesday. 88 will feel like it's in the 90s, with a chance of a shower or thunderstorm. I'm NBC 10 First Alert meteorologist Bill Henley.
You're listening to WURD Radio, 96.1 FM. and 900 AM WURD, independent black media.
Welcome back to the Power Hour. We're glad to be here with you on today. Told you, I don't know what WURD was thinking about letting me host by myself this week, but good luck. So, but they've left me in good hands because COASA is going to make sure that I don't completely go off the rails, which you all who listen to the show know is quite possible at any given time. So listen, we're glad today to be here. Very topical things that are going on in the world. And so I want to talk to somebody who is a historian, a journalist, and who thinks deeply about these things and who's written, ironically, about the yellow fever epidemic just as COVID-19 was unfolding. Who knew? So we have with us this morning Stephen Freed. He's an award-winning journalist and best-selling author. He teaches at Columbia University and Philadelphia's own University of Pennsylvania. And his latest book, Rush, Revolution, Madness, and the Visionary Doctor Who Became a Founding Father, is a great read and a must-have. Always glad to be in his presence. Dr. Freed, good morning and welcome to the Power Hour.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. Listen, so when I saw your latest article, I thought to myself, I've got to have you on the program. It is The Founder's Plague. As I mentioned earlier, you're talking about the Founding Fathers, The Founder's Plague and Ours, Race, Partisanship, and Fake News at the Dawn of the Republic. You could almost instantly take At the Dawn of the Republic, scratch that out, and just say race, partisanship, and fake news in 2021. Could you not?
Exactly. That's part of the reason why I was really happy to get a chance to write the article, because as this was unfolding, I kept thinking, God, all this stuff is happening. It happened as soon as America was America, but people don't know about it. So I've gotten to write about yellow fever before, but to write about the racial aspects of it, which are so important, and the fake news and fake science, and bring it all together, it was an amazing period of time in Philadelphia, which at least had a happy ending. And the happy ending, of course, was the creation of your church. So it's an amazing story of American history, of Philadelphia history. And I'm really glad to be able to talk about it.
Well, listen, I mean, you're absolutely right. So Philadelphians know this, and, you know, WURD is a Philadelphia, Pennsylvania-based station, but we have a lot of listeners who are from outside the area. So just kind of remind us the yellow fever epidemic, you know, the when, where, what, and does it make you think anything at all about what's going on now with COVID-19?
Sure. So the yellow fever epidemic we're talking about, there was yellow fever epidemics, you know, many times, but the most famous one was in 1793. And what's important about it is that many more people died than ever did before. In Philadelphia, 10% of the population died in 3 months. And Philadelphia was the U.S. capital at that time. So George Washington was here, and Thomas Jefferson was here, and Alexander Hamilton was here. So it was a really big thing. And no one knew what to do about it. So it was a heroic effort by all these doctors using all their different treatments, none of which ultimately worked because there is no real treatment for yellow fever. And the only good news is that yellow fever epidemics end when the mosquitoes die when it gets cold, which they didn't know either. So it's an unbelievably dramatic moment that does a lot of things. One is that it's also happening when the media in America is first exploding. So what you have is unbelievably partisan writing about this, because as we have seen today, whenever there isn't enough science, people just fill in with their own politics. And so that's what people did here. Benjamin Rush was tied politically to Thomas Jefferson and to the Republicans. They're not our Republicans today. These are the Democratic Republicans. And so his treatments were called the Republican treatment. And the doctor who treated Alexander Hamilton, who was Rush's arch enemy and next door neighbor. Got to remember, these people lived in a very small Philadelphia. Philadelphia at that time was Pine Street to Ray Street and the Delaware River to 9th Street. So that's basically where people lived. And it was very, very close in. And so it was, and they were figuring out what America was supposed to be. What I also found really interesting about it, there was no way to avoid this in doing the journalism of it, is that this was also a fascinating racial time, because right before the yellow fever epidemic broke in August of 1793, the groundbreaking for the first free black church in America was taking place down the street. And so Richard Allen and Absalom Jones had worked for a long time to raise the money to begin a black church. And the white people in Philadelphia were angry that black people thought they needed a black church. They were ignoring the fact that they had started being very, very prejudiced. The churches in Philadelphia were somewhat segregated and then got unsegregated after the Fugitive Slave Act, which also was passed that year, which made things very difficult in the northern cities because it allowed slave owners to come to northern cities, claim black people were their slaves, and take them. So it was a very racially charged time. And right before yellow fever started, there was this fascinating dinner that happened on South 2nd Street, and they did the roof raising for this church, and first 100 white members of the community who had helped raise the money and also were the carpenters and stuff for this building were served by 100 members of the black community. And Benjamin Rush was at the lead of the table, and when they were done, they got up and all the black leaders sat down and they were served by the white community. It was, you know, very, and you know, if you think about this, this would be a big, unfortunately, this would still be a big deal today, which is ridiculous. Right. But the fact that this actually happened in 1793 is really fascinating. It gives you an idea that even from the earliest times of America, people were trying to figure out how to send messages about racial equality. We didn't just invent this yesterday. And while we hear a lot in our reading about abolition, which obviously is a huge part of this, the attempts to make sure that free blacks in the North were treated without racial prejudice is a separate thing. And since that was a major part of Benjamin Rush's life, he was, as a physician, someone who had written very early on about his belief that black and white people were the same. This was a very controversial thing for a very well-known doctor to say. Again, shouldn't have been then, shouldn't be now, but, you know, that's the world. So this dinner was fascinating. Rush and the black leaders saw this as a great sign of what could be the future of race relations in Philadelphia. And then literally over the next couple days, people realized that people were dying at incredible rates in Philadelphia. First on North Market Street, right near the pier there, because that's where the outbreak started, but then all over the city. And within a week or two, many doctors had left town because they were afraid. And the remaining doctors banded together with members of the black clergy and their parishioners who volunteered to be nurses and to help take care of patients that doctors couldn't get to and help with the unbelievable number of bodies. I mean, a lot of people died. So it was a fascinating, horrifying, racially charged environment. We have great evidence of what it was like because Rush wrote to his wife almost every day, and we have those letters. And when the whole thing was over, Jones and Allen wrote a book, a long pamphlet about what their experience had been like, which is the first book ever copyrighted and published by African Americans. A book that everybody should read. Every kid in school should read this book. It takes on the same issues that we have today. It basically says, why are you prejudiced against us? And could you stop? And talks about what it was like being on the front lines of yellow fever. So it was a period that was charged politically. It was charged in the scientific community because there were huge fights about what was going on, and charged racially. And, you know, as soon as the pandemic here started unfolding, you could see all the same things were happening with all the same kind of trends and all same kind of difficulties getting people just to be able to talk about what was going on.
Well, so let me just jump in real quick, Doc. So we're talking to Stephen Freed, who is the author of an incredible book on the life of Benjamin Rush, one of the founders of noted as one of the founding fathers, but he was also an important figure in the founding of Mother Bethel AME Church, of which I'm the pastor. And I got to shout out St. Thomas African Episcopal Church, or They Will Come and Get Me, Absalom Jones's church. And that was, so Richard Allen had kind of paused the building of Mother Bethel to help with the church that you just talked about. So he was a part of that roof raising for St. Thomas. The plan was to quickly get Mother Bethel up, but our church was not completed until 1794 in July, which just shows you what an impact yellow fever had on everything. Now, let me just ask you about the political part of this. You started in on this, and thank you for that incredible brief history. So much more you could say, but you said Thomas Jefferson, he took the Benjamin Rush, I guess, like, equivalent of a vaccine or attempt at being healed. You said Alexander Hamilton took someone else's?
Well, no, Jefferson actually never got sick. What happened was, people started getting sick. Rush was the leading doctor of his time. Okay, he ran the University of Pennsylvania Medical School, which was the first medical school in the country. He was, if you think of like Fauci and the Surgeon General and every TV doctor you would listen to, that was Rush at the time. And so Rush saw an incredible number of patients, and he immediately knew that the lesser treatments that people were trying weren't working because he was watching people dying. He lived at 4th and Walnut. Some people were treated at his house. Other ones, they would go out, just incredible amounts of house calls. Because keep in mind, at this time, hospitals were only for poor people, and the hospitals wouldn't take yellow fever patients because they were afraid everybody else in the hospital was going to get it. So it was all house calls. So they didn't know what to do. Rush favored a more aggressive treatment. So basically, as people died from the less aggressive treatment, which would have been like, giving people liquids, giving them, some mild sedatives. When people dropped dead from that, Rush said, no, we need to try something more. So the treatments at the time were purging, giving you stuff that makes bad things come out of various orifices in your body, and bloodletting to let blood out. And so when a little bit of purging and a little bit of bloodletting didn't work, he used more. So,
hey, Doc, we can't. This is a morning show. I don't think we can take any more of the bloodletting and purging.
I get it. So what happened was Hamilton announced that he had been sick, and that he was cured by the milder cure, and then he wrote a letter about it in the newspaper, basically saying everybody else should do this because my doctor is the best doctor, and he has this cure. So this is the beginning of partisan separation in America. So Hamilton was the god of the Federalists, and Jefferson was creating what was called democratic republicanism. But the biggest issue was there were two sides. Right up through the Revolution, there was one side. We're going to beat the British. Now, as soon as there's an America, there has to be two sides, and there has to be two arguments for everything, because one side has to win. And Hamilton was all about that partisanship and all about winning. So he wrote a letter to the paper saying that his treatment, the treatment he got, which saved him, was the best treatment. And the papers were all divided by party. I mean, imagine, if it was that overt today. But, there were Federalist papers and Republican papers. So he wrote that, and then Jefferson wrote, he said, first of all, Jefferson hated Hamilton. These guys, I mean, part of what I loved about writing this book is to see what they were like behind the scenes. They're great gossip. They were really mean to each other. They were fascinating. Great characters, great friends, and great enemies. So many of them were enemies with Hamilton. So Jefferson wrote that Hamilton probably wasn't sick in the first place because he's just a wuss. And so why should anybody listen to what he says his doctor did? But because he wrote in the paper that his doctor's cure was right, and that his doctor wrote in the paper what the cure was, Rush decided that he had to put his cure in the paper. And so that because people couldn't all get doctors, so they were going to cure themselves. I mean, at this time, there weren't prescriptions. You didn't go to a pharmacy with a prescription from a doctor. You just went to a apothecary. They gave you drugs. You could hire a bloodletter to come take your blood out. You didn't need a doctor's note. And this was an emergency. So basically, there was this huge rush of people who followed the different doctors, all because of politics. And so the political thing was really ugly. And the other reason, sadly, that Hamilton was doing this is because, Hamilton wanted New York to be the capital, not Philadelphia, because he was from New York. Lin-Manuel, that's why Lin-Manuel wrote a play in which, a founding father says New York is the greatest city in the world when Philadelphia was running the country at the time. So Hamilton, so they wanted Philadelphia to fail. They liked the idea that people were getting sick in Philadelphia because that meant maybe New York could be the capital again. There's great competition. So it's just, all I would say is whenever you feel like you can't believe how political our world is, the only good news is that it's always been this political. We just don't know our history well enough. Because the first time there was a controversy like this that got race, science, and politics mixed together, and the media, being overkill, that's exactly what we did. Maybe that's America.
Yeah.
And maybe that's, I have to say, I found that a little comforting, even the parts that are discomforting, because at least it shows, one, it's the way we always respond to this, and two, we somehow are resilient enough to get past these problems, whether they're partly self-created, which they are.
Well, folks, listen, you have heard from one of the experts today, and the book that he has written, the latest book, Rush, Revolution, Madness, and Benjamin Rush, the visionary doctor who became a founding father, I'm certain partly inspired this latest article that was found in Foreign Affairs. I'm sorry, what magazine is this?
Foreign Affairs magazine, yes.
Okay, it is Foreign Affairs.
It's online right now.
Yeah, I'm just impressed with the fact that I've also seen that you've written in Rolling Stone and places like that. So you're like everywhere. It's called The Founder's Plague and Ours: Race, Partisanship, and Fake News at the Dawn of the Republic. Again, we can take comfort that we're not the first to go through this. I mean, I guess that's a good thing to know that we're in good company. Hey, Dr. Stephen Freed, thank you for getting up so early and being with us here at WURD, and hopefully our other hosts will get you on their shows at some point. Appreciate you.
Thank you so much for having me on. It's great to see you.
All right, take care. Folks, we'll be back on the other side of this break, and wow, we are not the first. Don't go anywhere. Hit the share button, bring your friends and family, and we'll be right back.
At Bank of America, we're helping to meet the need for more affordable housing through community development banking.
I'm Jim Dever, President of Bank of America, Greater Philadelphia. My teammates and I are deepening our commitment to help meet the affordable housing need. Here in Greater Philadelphia, we're also collaborating with Habitat for Humanity Philadelphia to expand options for more people. What would you like the power to do?
Bank of America N.A., member FDIC, equal housing lender.
What's up, Philly? It's Solomon. With so much uncertainty surrounding the upcoming school year, now is the time to take charge of your child's education and give them the tools to make learning fun and safe. Check out Commonwealth Charter Academy, which can make a difference in your child's life. Commonwealth Charter Academy, or CCA, is a K-12 public cyber charter school with nearly 20 years of experience providing a flexible, stable, online education in the comfort of your home. Enroll today at ccaeducate.me. Your child will receive 1. A world-class accredited education streamed directly into your home at no cost to you. 2. A laptop, headphones, assistance with accessing the internet, and learning materials all provided at no cost to you. 3. A safe learning environment with no bullying or security concerns. Join the nearly 2,500 students from Philly who already attend CCA. The school year begins September 8th. Enroll now at ccaeducate.me.
What grows in the forest? Trees? Sure. Know what else grows in the forest? Our imagination, our sense of wonder, and our family bonds grow too. Because when we disconnect from this and connect with this, we reconnect with each other and build family memories we will carry with us forever. The forest is closer than you think. Find a forest near you and start exploring at discovertheforest.org. It's easy. Just put in your zip code to find family-friendly outdoor destinations near you. You'll also find guides to free activities, games, and amazing forest facts. Give the magic of the outdoors to your kids and reconnect with your family. Find a forest near you at discovertheforest.org. That's discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the United States Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Now, a traffic update
on WURD Radio.
This report sponsored by America's Best Contacts and Eyeglasses, and volume picks up here in Philadelphia, southbound 95, Copman down through Bridge, then heavy again from Betsy Ross through Girard, northbound side looking good this morning, westbound Vine Parkway through the Schuylkill Expressway a bit slow. Schuylkill westbound, Broad to Passyunk, beginning to jam through that work zone, eastbound 76, not too bad as of yet. Southbound Boulevard, Route 1, some slowing from Broad down to Wissahickon through construction. Looking at 55 north of Deptford into 42, a little busy there this morning. 42 northbound between 55 and 295, that's still a light ride. Don't overpay for glasses. Get 2 pairs and a free exam for just $69.95. The exam alone is worth $50. That's not just a better deal, it's America's Best. Book your exam online today. In certain states, eye exams provided by independent ophthalmologists. See store for details. For more traffic information, log on to sigalert.com. Jim Bachman with your Philadelphia area traffic.
Now, a word weather update. Here's NBC 10 First Alert meteorologist Bill Henley.
Lingering clouds, warm and muggy this morning, turning partly sunny this afternoon, and a hot day, a high of 92 degrees, with a chance of an isolated thunderstorm. Mainly cloudy tomorrow, a touch hotter, a high of 94. Then the humidity ramps up on Wednesday. 88 will feel like it's in the 90s, with a chance of some isolated showers or thunderstorms. I'm NBC 10 First Alert meteorologist Bill Henley.
You're listening to WURD Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD, independent black media.
Welcome back to the Power Hour. I want to thank Stephen Freed for that interview, for that information. And I don't know, what do you all make of that? Isn't that incredible? I mean, Catfish Hillbilly says, that was interesting. I mean, you know, we don't have enough time to really go into it. But I mean, I got to tell you, this is, you know, like Dr. Freed said, I agree that a lot of times we make a lot of hay about something in the present as though it's the first time because we don't really know our history. And I mean, why should we know our history? Because it's been whitewashed for so many years. You know, America we don't even like critical race theory, anything that's critical of the past, especially the founding fathers. Remember George Washington's wooden teeth? Yeah, well, thanks to WURD host and civil rights activist Michael Cord, we all know now those were not wooden teeth, but those were the teeth of the enslaved members of George and Martha's plantation. Gasp. You didn't learn that in kindergarten through high school. Maybe it's a kindergarten, that might just be too graphic, but certainly by middle school or by high school, we can handle the truth. Definitely by college. But no, we can't, you know, go around tampering with the truth, or the myth, I should say, with a little thing called the truth. So, I mean, listen, I mean, when you dig deep and you pull back the layers of the onion, you recognize that this has happened before. One of the things that he didn't talk about, again, we just didn't have enough time. We didn't have enough time to really kind of like, you know, get into it. But he's talking about the fake news, right? So there was a guy named Matthew Carey, who was a kind of a journalist of his day. So when Richard Allen and Absalom Jones and Sarah Allen and Flora and all the others who literally risked their lives to care for the dead and the dying of the yellow fever epidemic of 1793. I think I said 1791 earlier, but as he said, rightfully, 1793. This guy, Matthew Carey, who fled the city of Philadelphia, by the way, he was scared. He ran away while they stayed, and many of their friends and family died at the same rate that whites did. And he comes back and he writes this scandalous newspaper article about black workers like Allen and Jones and others who were stealing from dead white corpses. Didn't happen. That were charging higher than usual rates for those that they were, you know, in the charge of nursing and hauling bodies away. And I mean, again, first of all, how would you know? You weren't there because you were a coward and you left the city. So then you come back and then you want to scandalize the name of the heroes and heroines, the black ones. I mean, I'm just trying to help you all understand that what we're going through today is nothing new, right? It's nothing new. As they say in the Bible, nothing new under the sun. As Tawanda said, there's always a blueprint. And Kasu, I don't know what you're talking about. You're not blocked because I'm looking right at I think everybody's looking at your post there. I don't do the blocking on here. Stephen Freed just posted, again, the article once again as well. I mean, it is a great read, folks. You got to check it out. But again, it just reminds us that we have been here before. And so if you want to kind of know what to do going forward, take lessons of the past. And one is listen to good science. You know, I mean, look, Benjamin Rush had to admit that he was wrong. He was like, as a scientist, I thought bloodletting was the way to cure this. Then there was a French doctor who came along. I can't remember his name. He said, no. All right, I'm going to leave that French accent alone. Before Kuwaisa beeps me. But he said, no, it's transmitted through mosquitoes more than likely. Just get away from the mosquitoes. You know, it's like COVID-19. I mean, boy, do you remember last year before we were really certain what caused it? Man, the streets were empty because people did not know. And so nobody wanted to take a chance. But as science evolved, they were like, okay, look, stay 6 feet away from each other, wear a mask. We're pretty sure that will cut your chance of catching COVID down, greatly. Then it was 3 feet. And then if you're vaccinated, you can take the mask off. And now what we're seeing is because of variants and because of the pandemic of the unvaccinated, as Joe Biden said, the numbers are spiking again. And so what? Cities are talking about reinstating mask mandates for being indoors. It's driven by science, not by, this is not politics. And so, look, protect yourself. Don't listen to people who are going to get you killed. I think we talked about that on Friday. Sad story of the young guy, 45 years old or so, didn't believe in the vaccine, told his mother, don't you get a vaccine. Mama said, son, you crazy. And then the mama had to bury the son. That's a needless death. That is an absolute needless death. Be like in yellow fever, just running into a swarm of mosquitoes. Why? We know now that'll kill you. Run the other direction. It's the same thing. Put a mask on. Stop disrupting airline travel. Stop acting like petulant children and put on a mask. And look, I know there's an impression that this is like just white folk in the South acting like this, but I have met far too many black folk with advanced degrees who are out here caping for these conservative news outlets who are saying the same things. It's like, come on, seriously? I took the vaccine back in February, second dose in March. I've yet to see a new appendage growing anywhere. Anybody else out there take the vaccine? How do you feel? Throw it in the chat. Aside from maybe some minor discomfort, that shot in the arm hurt like heck the next day. But is there anybody else out there? What was your experience? I'm trying to save somebody's life. Because I know that there are people who are listening right now who are like, nah. No, yeah. Stop tripping. So anyway, listen, we got more of that. We can talk more about of that tomorrow. Real quick before we get out of here, remember on tomorrow we're going to talk to Dr. Aubrey Hendricks, PhD, Princeton trained, former president of a seminary, great writer. And he's going to talk about how white evangelicals are destroying America. That should be interesting. Wednesday, we're going to talk to Dr. George French, president of Clark Atlanta University, my alma mater. And they wiped the debt away using some of that McKinsey Scott money. I'm sure. We're going to talk to him. Let's see, Nikki O'Tim got the vaccine in April, no side effects. Catfish Hillbilly, and you can trust somebody with a name like Catfish Hillbilly. I feel great. Got mine back in January. Man, how'd you jump the line? Audrey took the vaccine. She's fine. Lois Rubin says, I didn't want to take it, but I did. And how do you feel, Lois? Are you okay? Bishop Peggy took it, felt fine, no problems. Thank you for your comments. Listen, tell your friends, tell your family, it's okay. Let's save each other's lives. Now, I'm going to save my life now and get out of the way for the next show because we're about to move into Wake Up with Word with Solomon Jones. And I can't wait for tomorrow either. Hoping the bishop got some rest this morning. And we're going to continue this conversation this week, every day, 6 to 7 a.m. It's the power. Thank you, Kawesa, for holding it down. And trust me, I mean, we just scratched the surface this morning. So much more to get to on tomorrow. Until then, as Bishop says, go out and change the damn world. Peace.